lots of thoughts trying to come out at the same time. But,
if he's talking about dictators, might have acknowledged that in the last Russian election in 2024, Putin got 88% of the vote. Really?
Well, it's not only that. I mean, let's not forget Putin has quite literally murdered many of his political opponents, including Navalny. He literally set up stooges, people calling themselves, looking very like different ones of his opponents. So the whole thing has been completely fixed for many years. Putin is the archetypal dictator. He has quite literally rigged every media organization, murdered the journalists, and murdered his political opponents. One of the things I love about GB News is you say things that I regularly disagree with. And it means I have to think, I have to be challenged, I have to come up with arguments as to why I think I'm right, or if I'm wrong, change my mind. There's none of that in Russia. Absolutely none of it. People like you, I'm afraid, Bev and Andrew, you end up in prison or murdered.
I will sit here and disagree with you on this one, Tom, because when Zelenskyy won in 2014, he won as a peace president, that he was going to sign the Minsk Accords, which would have brought... say that again?
Sorry, the Minsk Accords were agreed. The Minsk II was agreed. But the problem is that Russia then invaded in 2022, violating the Minsk Accords.
But what do you think Vladimir Putin, went into that special military operation in 2022 for in the east of Ukraine?
So it's only the Russians who call it a special military operation. Everybody else calls it what it is.
No, it's not actually. It's not actually. It's some of Trump, because they will say if he deliberately wanted to go in and take over Ukraine, he wouldn't have sent in so few troops. If he wanted ambition to take over the whole of Ukraine, he could have done that, and he didn't do that. He was trying to force a negotiation to the table, surely.
No, that's not true, Bev. That is completely rewriting history.
It isn't.
He sent shock thinking it would be a really easy run. He thought that his armoured columns would get through all the way to Kiev, coming from Belarus. It was completely clear. What we discovered was that his army is so corrupt that it simply cannot manage the fuel and logistics to keep an armoured column going for 100 kilometres. Now, that's not because he designed it so. It's because he is an appalling dictator and everybody lies to him at every level.
Do you think Ukraine should be in NATO?
Sorry, that's a completely separate question.
Hey guys, let's talk about Bev Turner from GB News. In a debate about Ukraine and Russia, she repeatedly peddled misinformation, was corrected multiple times, and yet doubled down without a shred of self-awareness. So in this GB News segment, she tries to justify the Russian invasion of Ukraine by saying it was all about the Minsk Accords, claiming they were violated by Ukraine. Except here's the kicker. Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022, blatantly breaking those very accords. When this was pointed out to her, she did what all great intellectuals do. She completely ignored it and moved on. Zero acknowledgement, zero correction. She just straight away went on to the next talking point. Tom Tugendhat, who clearly knows his stuff, was trying to explain the historical context and the reality of Putin's ambitions, but Bev was having none of it. When corrected on calling the war a special military operation, a phrase only Putin and his loyalists use, she tried to justify it, saying, well, Trump supporters say it too. That's okay then. That must make it alright then, isn't it? It got even more embarrassing when she claimed Putin didn't want to take over Ukraine because he didn't send enough troops. Tugendhat pointed out the obvious. Putin's army is corrupt and incompetent and expected a quick victory. That never happened. Her response changed the subject. Not an ounce of humility or willingness to learn, just more bollocks. Here's the thing. No one expects GB News to be the bastion of truth or journalistic integrity. But if you're going to spout absolute bullshit, then at least own up when you're wrong. Especially when Tugendhat explained the strategic failures of the Russian army, like how their vehicles literally broke down because of corruption. She sat there unfazed, sticking to her narrative. And just to top it off, she tried to play the old, oh, I'm not defending Putin, but, yeah, because repeating Kremlin propaganda and refusing to acknowledge the historical facts isn't defending Putin at all. Sure, Bev, love. Okay, love. The most frustrating part, people actually watch this and believe this shit. It's one thing to have a differing opinion, it's another to distort history and mislead viewers. If you're going to talk about geopolitics, at least do the bare minimum and get the basic facts right. But let me know what you think in the comments. I've been Jake from Just Jake. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow the Facebook page, and feel free to buy me a beer. Not a real one, because we're not that kind of people. you actually made it to the end of the video. If you would like to subscribe to the channel, which, why haven't you already, is somewhere over there. And also, if you want to watch more videos, also check out over there. I've been Jake from Just Jake. See you later.